Turn me up.
Man, that was lit. Lit, as the kids would say. No skippity here. Episode 226 of the Too Thick Pod, your home for all things sports, cards, and levity. I am Jeremy, joined as always by Manny being Manny. Good evening, sir.
What's up, everyone? And what is up, Jeremy? It's been a while, maybe a week or so, but we are back. I'm making Jeremy record while his baby boo, P. Will, just checked in. He's back. Jeremy's back. Manny's back. We are back. Let's get into it, Jeremy. I'm excited.
Yeah, you said it's been a while. It's true. It's been like 8 or 9 days since we last recorded, which seems like an eternity. Might be our longest stretch of going without a recording, I think.
I think it's the longest, yeah. We had a vacation. It seemed like a vacation.
It did. Well, first things first, let's talk about Shipshewana, shall we?
Shipshewana. Yeah, is that the hat? Speaking of that, is that the famous hat that flew into the pond?
This is, in fact, the infamous hat, famous for a bad reason, brand new. Decided to be youthful. Back in the day, a young Jeremy on any given Friday or Saturday night would only go out with brand new threads. And, decided new venue for Shipshewana, get some new Bulls gear. And walking out to go to Starbucks, a gust of wind came and took this damn thing. And it was like 50 degrees. And it had been cold beforehand. Took the hat, and it went in the middle of a pond, of all places. So I called Courtney. After I MF'd some things, I was with Kenny Fisher from TNT. Notice no plug for TNT. I know Tyler said the check's in the mail, but until that damn thing clears, we're not showing them any love. But my homie, Kenny, was with me, and he just laughed. So I called Court, and I said, hey, the hat's in the middle of the pond, and it's legitimately like a pond. Send Steven out. But it was like 50 degrees, so the stuff was starting to thaw. And as I was driving, making the 28-minute trek back into Michigan to go to Starbucks, I thought to myself, what if the ice breaks? And the next time that my phone rings, it's going to be Courtney telling me Steven drowned in 9 inches of water. So she put together an incredible video. The kid busted ice a couple times, but he's able to get it and save the day.
I love how Courtney was like, you know what? This is a content piece.
I am telling you, if Courtney had more time on her hands, like we would be content kings. Yeah. Unfortunately, real life gets in the way sometimes. But yeah, you free her up and she'll turn anything into content.
Yeah, she's good at that. But yeah, that was the first day I got a call. I'm sitting there waiting in school, like picking up my daughter, those lines trying to beat the other parents come in first place. And I get a call, and Jeremy's just busting out laughing because he's like, you wouldn't believe what just happened, and explained it to me, and I'm crying in the car. You got the other parents looking at me like, what is wrong with this guy? But it was a good story.
As somebody who's worked for a company for a long time, who has gone through life a little bit, when you just recognize things aren't going your way and there's just defeat in your voice. That's how I felt. I didn't even attempt to walk down the stony embankment. I didn't attempt to do anything. I just drove away and sat miserably for 28 minutes and tried to vent to somebody. And I'm usually the sort of person that just like, I'm a typical guy in the sense that like, I don't bother people with my problems. I keep it on the inside and I have a good cry in the shower or whatever we do. Yeah. But this was like, I was like, son of a bitch, man. These things are like $45 a pop now, man.
They're so expensive now. Well, Jeremy, speaking of the money, like how much stuff was, I wasn't there Friday. You want to get into Friday at Shipshewana? I know you did really well.
Well, I do want to apologize to the fine folks of Sturgis, Michigan. As I went up in there, I found the Starbucks, and as I drove out, and I was pissed about my hat, I took a sip out of something. I don't know what the hell it was. I spit it out, and I legitimately, like, this is kind of bad, so I'm apologizing. Like, I took a quick glance around to make sure that, like, I could make it happen. I busted a 360 or a 180 right in the middle of traffic, and I'm like, nah. I was going for an iced coffee, and they gave me some matcha. It was disgusting.
It was tea, that chai tea, wasn't it?
Oh, it's so gross. I got there, and the guy was like, hey, bro, I gave you the wrong drink. I'm like, man, we ain't got time for this, dude. Give me my drink. Let's keep it moving.
The best part of this story is, if you've been listening, you probably heard this story, but Jeremy is a bit a diva when it comes to Starbucks. He's actually been a lot better recently, but there was a time where the Starbucks right next to Jeremy, I was crying. This is like the best story. Jeremy gets like this nitro drink. Well, he went there and the nitro machine was down, but the way that this driveway is set up, it's like blocking you in. So Jeremy had to wait in line just to get out of Starbucks. So he's just sitting. And I know you were embarrassed to just drive right past that window without getting anything. But yeah, that nitro story was the best.
It was a legitimate like 3-month period where like once or twice a week the nitro machine was broken. So instead of just like adjusting and getting like a cold brew or getting a couple shots of espresso thrown in, I was like, nah, I'm gonna drive a town over and go over there with there was a lady who sounded like a phone sex operator. Thank you for stopping at Starbucks. Escort. She's like, oh no, we're not going to this one.
You know they could see you.
That's fine. Hey man, I'm telling you,
you.
I go there and they greet me. I spend a lot of money there. You know what I mean? So I'm like, nah. But Shipshewana was cool. The new venue was incredibly nice. That was the first thing that grabbed my attention. It went from feeling like a small big show to this legitimately had big show feel. When you walked in, you were greeted. I believe there was Ludex up front. There was somebody from Brad's family. Ryan's wife was there. Handing out badges and getting everybody squared away. And then you went into the event center and it legitimately had a big show feel to it.
Yep. Well, you also have people that went overboard. Let's just point it out. They have enough money to go overboard, but not pay us, you know.
Yeah, on I think there was like 300 tables. I think TNT had 140 of them. They had their setup for the Shipshewana show was bigger than anything you've ever seen at National by 10x. TNT just put their hobby meat on the table and let everybody know what was up.
I was laughing because I went up there. I was like, what is going on? And then I look over. They even had videographers following Tommy and Tyler around. I was like, what is going on over there?
Yeah, Tyler came over and he's like, hey, I'm going to shoot video. I'm like, the hell you are? I don't even let my wife take pictures. You think I'm going to be in your damn video?
The best thing is, like we were saying, they have enough to pay the videographers.
Yeah.
Not too thick.
Hey, that goes without saying. No, but the first night, so it was dealer only, or you had a VIP pass, which you could spend, I think, $5-10 to get in early. So I think there was a lot of dealer-to-dealer action. There were a good amount of people in there who paid to get in early. But I think they were also getting in early for the trade night because the trade night was essentially the second half of that space with a bunch of tables and chairs. So a really nice trade night, a lot of room to sit. It was a cool show, man. I really enjoyed the Friday night. I felt by like 9 o'clock, it was time for me to get the hell up out of there and go enjoy. This is something that not a lot of people know, but I'm going to confess it right here to the peeps. Is Courtney and I were motivated to get out of there because the new episode of Love is Blind dropped. So we got back to the hotel. The kids had their own little suite or whatever the hell they had going on. We logged in the old Netflix and watched Love is Blind and live texted Kenny and his wife.
That's funny. Did you so it was busy there. I went Saturday, right? And it was packed. Like, and everyone was talking about how good trade night was and all the deals they made the night before. So I mean, not to jump the gun, but Brad's going to have to make this a 3-day show and probably open up that other section here shortly because, yes, it got bigger. I don't know how that was going to last in the barn. If that many people in that little barn that they had, it would have been a no-go.
Yeah, I think at the point when Courtney went live or 5 minutes before letting the scavenger hunt go live, I took some videos and some pictures and I put them up on the socials to show how it was. For as big and open as it was, it still, there was periods where it felt like the most busy it's ever been at Shipshewana, where it was asses to elbows.
Yep.
It was hard to move. And this is a big spot. So not at all saying anything bad about the show, just a testament to how well it was promoted and what kind of turnout they had.
It was a great turnout. There was also, I don't know if it scared you a couple times. This is the first show it's ever happened, but there was drones flying by.
Yes.
Out of nowhere. And I figured it was card collectors, Ryan. I was drones. I was like, whose drones are just going, like swooping down on me? One time I almost went under your table when it came close to me.
I thought that was like the new episode of Monday Night Raw. You know, on Raw they show like the drone flying through. I'm like,
Oh,
what the hell's going on here?
yeah, it was actually pretty cool. It was like super loud, but yeah, the actual show, I will say the negatives for me, right? ADHD. I could not focus how big that show was. I feel like I'm not good at big shows, Jeremy.
I think that not so much for me. I think what was challenging for me was you're seeing a lot of people that you haven't seen in a long time, especially when we were going to as many shows as we were years
Yeah.
past. And so for some people, it might be their first show of the year or the first time seeing us. And a lot of people want to stop and conversate, which is awesome. But when it's a lot of people and it's nonstop and you've got a million people trying to buy cards, I think that was a good problem to have.
Yeah.
But, you know, Bushy was there. I didn't see him till like the last hour of Saturday.
Yep.
And if it wasn't for in passing, I got to talk with Mikey B for a couple minutes, you know, chopped it up with Ryan for a couple minutes. You know, Andy from IndyCard.
Yep.
Otherwise, there was a lot of like, you're at your table busy working.
I know. I felt bad. Like, so I realized I go to the shows and I'm only gonna buy from people from now on. I'm only buying from people I know because it turns into me like I got excited to see Jeremy. So I stood behind his booth half the time. I felt bad because he was busy and I'm over here distracting the whole booth while I'm behind the thing. Then I go over and talk to Evan and he's working, trying to buy Pokemon cards. Then I go over and talk to other people we know. So it's like, yes, I go. I sold my cards within like an hour of being there, and then the rest was just like I want to hang out with my friends.
Yeah, I strongly wanted to do the same. I will say, you know, a fun and odd story. It could have gone super bad. Was because we always welcome people if they need to throw some cards in the showcase, or if we have space, we'll gladly, you know, help people out like no cost whatsoever, or let people store stuff at our tables. Courtney was doing a deal, and because we had a bunch of the cards that I talked about last week, people would come and buy 30, 40, 50, 100 cards at a time. So there had some math involved. So me trying to like watch everything, I would be like, all right,
Yeah.
you add this up. Some guy was standing right behind her while doing a deal, and he was wearing a red shirt. And I was on a day when I was wearing a red Jordan hoodie, and
Yeah.
she thought it was me. And he was just standing there, you know, just waiting for her to talk. Well, she at one point wanted to give him like a little, like, what she thought to me, like, she being like, you know, cute, little twat, maybe, you know, little hidden handsy play.
Yeah.
And turns out she turned around and said, what the hell? And I don't want to say his social because I'll say it wrong, but you know who you are. You creep. Creep.
You creep.
No, you know what? I thought the show was good. I really haven't heard anything negative. I did hear a little bit of chatter on Twitter, which is Twitter is always great for bad. I think some people said it was a tough buying show. That was not personally my experience, but I'm also the same way. I gravitate towards people who I have pre-existing relationships with.
Yeah.
And I might talk a little bit. I don't just go up and go, "What's your best?" You know what I mean? I chit chat, and so I didn't experience that. I know we're always easy and flexible to work with. So
Yeah.
you know, the bathrooms, there was multiple bathrooms, there was concession services.
The pretzels. Dude, the pretzels there were amazing.
I heard the ice cream, and then I also heard the chicken tendies were off the hook too, kid.
Really? I didn't get all that, but the pretzels were good. I think the people complaining are the ones that like I said on the last show, the Shipshewana show is like a family like type show. All of us, all the community in the Midwest know each other. Like we walk in, we see Ludex, we're giving them a hug. We see Indie Card Exchange, we're giving like, you know, talking to them, giving them hugs. We see Mikey B, we see Southwest, we see TNT, we see Hollister, we see Keys, like all these people that we know like are at this show. It's not like it's like a national, but just for our Midwest people. So I say it could have been tough with them, but with us, everyone we deal with are like family to us. So everyone's not going to try to get you. You know what I mean?
I just think some people aren't happy unless they have something to complain about.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, there was, you know, one thing I thought was cool is that there was a 86 Jordan in PSA 10.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody, I don't want to speak on his business, so I'm not going to say the social, but they were trying to hammer out a deal, and allegedly the buyer was right around 200, and this guy was stuck on at like 180, 185 due to centering on the back of the card.
Oh, geez.
And I just thought, like, here I'm haggling with somebody over like $14, and you guys are like, you have a delta of 15 G's on the centering of the back of a card. And as you were showing it to me, I mean, you could see it slightly, and I've got a decent eye, but
yeah,
I didn't know if that was $15,000 off. But I guess when you're playing at that price point,
yeah.
So it's like there was those kind of cards in the room, down to like incredible dollar boxes and stuff like that. It had something for everybody. Like I said, it was open, it was lit. There was places you could sit down. It wasn't like because it was so big. The climate control was awesome. No complaints. And I guess if there was a complaint, it's a good complaint. Is there's a lot of people there, which
I am curious.
That's the goal.
So the people that did go to the show, because there's a lot of them that listen to our show. If you could, I want to know what you guys bought at the show. I'm curious. I know a lot of people were buying baseball. People were still looking for football. Drake May, all of them. That's class. But I did see. I know Jeremy will probably talk about it, but late 90s to early 2000s basketball was popping at this show. Everybody wanted it. And I know our guy Bushy was mad because he was like a year ago, he was the only one buying it. Now he's like competing with everyone.
Right.
So I'll let you talk about that because that's what mostly was at your table.
Yeah, I would say that we probably sold somewhere between 700 and 800 cards. And I will say this. So this is kind of like, I think this is cool because everybody tells you how great and how smart and how awesome they are. Myself, I guess I have to own it. I had a mistake where I had an Iverson Rubies that I put in the dollar box. And it was the foil on the lower right-hand side. And I don't know how I missed it, but I missed it. Luckily, Tommy found it.
Yep.
And he was like, hey, I'm going to do you a favor. This is actually something different. It was like a $60 to $70 raw card.
Yeah.
Which was cool. And so we took care of them. But yeah, that stuff was moving like crazy. People were like this. I'll take that. 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 That. The negotiation was minimal. When somebody spent like $400 or $500, they'd ask for a few bucks off. But if it was like onesie twosie, I'm like, we're priced really fairly. I'm not going to move much because the stuff will sell. And sure enough, it just like, you didn't have to tell a story. You didn't have to refer to some random sale. You didn't have to have this weird, goofy negotiation. It was just like, I like these cards and I want them. And that was the thing that I heard most from the people buying those cards. A lot of those guys, those were potentially forever homes. Like, hey, I liked AI. I grew up watching him. This is game use, serial number. I'm keeping this. This is cool.
It's funny that you say that because it was, tell me if I'm wrong, it was mostly guys that are our age, around our age, that were buying it because, like you said, we grew up watching them. We didn't get those cards when we were younger. And it's funny because it's a cycle. Because before that, everyone was buying Jordans because that's where they wanted when they were growing up. Now it seems like the cycle is turning to our age. We wanted Kobe. We wanted Allen Iverson. We wanted Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter. So it just seems, and Tim Duncan, it just seems like it's just shifted years, a decade.
And it's that nostalgia.
Yeah.
It was cool. I want to do, I got a few minutes to speak with Hollister and his wife, and I thought it was awesome. He came over and he crushes ComC, and he does this thing on Twitter. And even though I don't post on Twitter anymore, I always see what he's doing. And he posts like the last 5 sales, which is kind of cool because you and I know exactly what that looks like. And I was talking about it, and so he put me onto some things that you can use on ComC when you get like to the tail end of your inventory, or you've got some stuff that's stale that's just sitting there. And so I ran my first ever sale based on the stuff that he had told me about, and moved a couple $100 worth of stuff that was just sitting real quick.
Really?
So I truly, and then, of course, he made himself available. If you ever want to call, you have questions, I'll help talk you through it. And so to me, the camaraderie of that show, getting to see people, like the cards are secondary. Getting to chat with people. And then I'll say, like, probably my highlight was seeing JNN Friday night. I don't know why. I don't know what it is, why people feel inclined to give me stuff to give to you. But he had a Nomar card that he was really excited. His boys were there, and just great to see these people, just real good people.
I will say thank you because that die cut was nasty. So
Mhm.
thank you. I know you're watching. I appreciate it. You're the best. You're my favorite St. Louis Cardinals fan. I know Jeremy doesn't like St. Louis Cardinals fans, but I do. I do. So this kind of ties into our next topic, Jeremy, and it was happened at Shipshewana. I will say, going around trying to sell cards, the people that didn't know me still are at that point where they're trying to get over on people. And I wanted to bring it up because, the Too Thick listeners, I don't want to let them get screwed over by some dealers thinking they know more than you. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I had this Christian Campbell PSA 9 silver, right? The raw sales were going for around $300, $290, $300. There hasn't been a PSA 9 sale since January because it's a low pop. It's pop 35. This is out of 499. It's a refractor. This dealer was trying to go off the PSA 9 sale and not the raw sales because it's not a PSA. Oh, and when he went to 130 point, he eliminated all the buy it now sales. So it looked like it was only a 200, 150 dollar card. I bought it for super cheap. I'll be very transparent. I bought it for 130. So I wasn't looking to get, like, if you would have offered me 250, 260, you would have had it. The dude offered me 150 for it. And I'm like, that's half of what the raw sale's going for. He's like, I'm not looking at raw. This is a PSA 9. And he's like, look at the PSA 9 sale. It's 200. I'll give you 150. I was like, you could screw off. So I do want people to realize, like, one, PSA 9, yes, is kind of comparable to raw, but you kind of have to have a little like grading fee on top of that. You know what I mean? And because all these guys on prospecting, you got to realize they're buying the raw to try to get to that 10. Like PSA 9, it's already a PSA 9. Also, the guy trying to get rid of all the bins, buy it nows, and just look at auctions. Sometimes a bin is a comp. And some people, like, yes, if it's crazy amount of low, crazy amount high, you eliminate those. But if it's part of the median of comps, you keep it. And I don't know where this theory, Jeremy, you might be able to help out, but why people are just like, buy it now, just get rid of them. Because it is, someone's willing to pay it at that price, even though it's like a median price. Like he was just getting rid of it.
I bet you the thing that he was eliminating, had you sold him the card for 150, he would have all of a sudden would have been applicable to him when he was going to sell it to somebody else.
Yep.
Which is garbage.
Correct.
At the end of the day, in my opinion, in my novice opinion, a comp is just one data point. Because what's to stop you from saying, well, this is already comped at 150, so does that mean that card forever will be 150?
Yep.
It's going to flatline, or it's going to go up, or it's going to go down. And when it does so, there's going to be a reason. And the comp police, you would never make any money or would never do anything because it would just be flat. Hey, that's the comp, that's the comp, that's the comp. It doesn't change. To me, it's always been like those people and because in real life, when you negotiate and stuff like that, when it comes to hobby, you don't want to have to do that stuff. So I just talk with people and get a sense of what they're about, how they operate. And if I feel like we can communicate on that level, I go for it. I never, once I get a sense that somebody's that sort of person, I don't make an offer. I don't do anything. I just get the hell out of there and save my time. So for me, a comp is just a point of reference.
Correct.
Just one piece of data. Like, are we in season? Are we out of season? Has there been injuries? How is the team's performing? Are there things coming up? Now, I will say, on a side note, I was bidding on Ovechkin on-card auto, hand numbered out of, I want to say it was 13. It got to like $450, $500 late Sunday night, and I did not bid anymore. And my thought for even looking at it was, at some point, this guy's going to score goals and there's maybe a slight bump. However, there was like, some comps.
Yep.
And me not knowing hockey as well as I know other things, me not knowing the brand of cards, in my opinion, it was like the equivalent of like Panini Honors.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like a buyback or something like that. And I thought it was funny. I saw today that Lane had actually bought the card.
You guys were bidding on each
There's
other.
been a couple times where I'm like, man, I wish I should reach out a little bit more and make sure, hey, are you going after these cards? If so, I'll stay the heck away from it. But I saw it today when he shared when I guess
Yeah.
I'm
Can I
not trying to spill somebody else's tea, but I just thought it was interesting.
can I tell you what I think about Alex Ovechkin's market? Maybe I'm wrong, and you could tell me wrong. Like I said, you know more than I do about. It kind of feels like the Kobe Bryant market when he was going to retire. Everyone seems like they're trying to buy him now for when he breaks the record. That when he actually breaks the record, I don't think it's going to go up as much. I feel like everyone's buying now. He's got like 9 goals left. You already missed the hype. You should have bought it like beginning of the season. Am I wrong for thinking of that?
I don't think so, but again, I don't know the hockey market
Okay.
besides a couple of Bedards here and there, the occasional like I'll buy like a 101 if I can get it. Like I bought this sweet Sidney Crosby clear cut 101 for like $500. I don't know the market, but historically, in my experience with cards like that, that jump that you're looking for
Already
doesn't come
Yeah, it
because
already happened.
we're already bidding it up against each other right now trying to get it.
Yes. Okay. So that's kind of where my thought was because I almost bought one at Shipshewana. It was a little overpriced, but I thought, okay. In my head, I'm like, it's a little overpriced. I'll pay 100 comps for it, and it'll go up. But then I'm like thinking in my head, I'm like, man, I did this before and it never went up and I actually lost money. So let me just stop.
Yeah, I think just I want to say something real quick. I just want to let Lane and his family know that we're thinking of him and his family.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, his mom passed recently, and you know, just all the positive vibes, all the love, whatever it is you believe in, we're sending Lane's way.
Yep.
Now, I will say something that you mentioned that I saw overwhelmingly. Courtney and I on Saturday had ourselves a little romantic date day. And so we woke up the morning and we went to Sylvania, Ohio, north of Toledo, one exit across the Michigan border, and we went to a card show. And one thing that was crazy clear to me is Raw is going for more than PSA 9. And if I would encourage people to utilize their resources and pay attention to serial numbers, I caught several cards that people that had already been previously graded and they cracked out.
Mm-hmm.
And when presented with the information, I got people to confess, like, yeah, man, I just, I bought it for 600. I graded it, came back. Like specifically, one's was a Skeens orange refractor out of 25. And I was like, hey, boss, what do we got here? He's like, yeah, I came back a PSA 8. And I'm like, all right, well, I appreciate you telling me this, but I bet you weren't being forward with that information if somebody was unsuspecting.
A lot of people don't think of that when they're buying raw cards. It's something to look at because more than likely it's been graded.
Can I tell you something?
Mm-hmm.
When I look at something, like if somebody's trying to flip a raw card on Veriswap or I see it in person, it's got that orange tag over the top from Quick Consignment,
Mm-hmm.
automatically like that card it's impossible that it would grade.
Yep. Same with cards I would say on Whatnot that are raw.
Yep, or Probstein, or like any big card. Like I try to tell people this all the time, and I feel like I'm like a overbearing parent. But if you go to a showcase where somebody's got like 13 kaboobs and they're all slabbed up, and there's one that's there that's not, there's a reason that it's not slabbed
Yep.
up.
You
And
can
like one thing that it was like a little annoying is there was one table where every card, the guy's like, oh, grade ready, grade ready. And I'm like, well, why haven't you graded it, bro?
Yeah.
Why haven't you graded it? And then if you start talking, because of the person that I am, I'm inquisitive. And when my spidey sense goes off, I might not know what it is going off or why it's tingling, but I can usually figure it out. And that's because these cards are bullshit.
Yep. And then if you're good at reading people, I think I've been with you before. Maybe I'm not. You can tell me if I'm wrong. Maybe it was at the National or not. But you've asked, why isn't this graded? Have you graded? Why isn't this one graded? And some dealers are truthful and just tell them, yeah, I didn't grade it because there's a little dimple on the back. I would be more apt to buy it than someone will like, no.
Yeah.
And you could read them and they're like stuttering over their words and everything. And you're like, yeah, I don't want it.
Big time.
Yep. It's crazy. Just be wary about people, dealers that you haven't encountered yet.
Just because you cracked it out doesn't automatically mean that it's a no buy for me.
Yeah.
Like, because, sometimes it's like, hey, for the life of me, like, how many times did I try to cross that Jordan over?
Oh yeah.
And everybody that looked at it's like, yeah, this is a 10. PSA was like, nah. And then finally, when I went to PSA, they held it upside down. They aligned the planets. They put specific lighting, and you could see the corner in like the most.
Yeah.
Like, things happen. I just, I would be careful. It opened my eyes this week, especially such a small show that only had like 40, 50 tables, that there was that much of going on. And usually, if it's going on a small scale, it's probably going on at bigger shows. Would be a safe assumption to make.
Especially now in the hobby when margins are so slim or thin, people are going to try to do whatever they can to make a quick buck.
Yeah. So I do want to take one moment. The show was cool. It was like half Pokemon, half sports. And of course, you had like the people who are trying to sell Caleb Williams silvers for $250 or just like asinine things where like, all right, well, you have fun holding that card.
Was that mosaic that you saw?
There was a few of them.
That case hit was cool. That's the reason why I brought it up.
Yeah. So no, we did this a couple years ago in Chicago. It's March. It's time to get rid of baseball and move into football. Yep. So it's kind of fun. So it was anything that looked clean that people were like, even I was like, some of them I was paying like 105% of comps just because it's going to play out. So I got the cards that I wanted. But our day came to a little bit of a halt because, and I forget his name. He's got 17 followers on Instagram. So he's young, but he's old enough, like where he doesn't mess with social. A lot of like low and mid-tier stuff at his table. And then he's like, check this out. And he pulled out a Lionel Messi Donruss Gold PSA 10. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. But I kind of shy away from Donruss. Then he goes back in. He pulls out a finest Lionel Messi red refractor auto numbered out of 5.
I saw that picture and I was like, did you buy that? That's sick.
Okay. So his ask was $2,500.
Yeah.
All right. So I did a deal earlier. I bought some stuff. And then I'm like, all right, here's what we're going to do. Wasn't prepared to buy this, and it kind of messes with my game plan a little bit because not as much disposable income, so you have to be a little more calculated. And I was there to buy football, so I'm thinking I've got shows coming up. I need some inventory. I want to get some stuff graded, but this is messy. Looked pretty nice. Yep. So me and Courtney broke. We went and grabbed lunch, and we're like, all right, we're gonna do it. So we grabbed cash. Well, like with Card Ladder, when you search, sometimes more information is better, sometimes more information is bad because it's based off of people's postings. So right before walking into the show, I adjusted one thing. I think it was like I removed the 22-23 or I added it. It was something very minor. All of a sudden, I found 2 sales of that card, PSA 10, within the last 3 months. So 2,200 and 2,450 were the last 2 sales.
So he's trying PSA
one
10.
on eBay and one at Golden, I want to say. So I went up and I chatted with him, super friendly, and I was like, look, man, I'm willing to buy this card. I'm willing to overpay because it's not every day that like a Messi, comes up. And I'm not going to talk bad about the card. I hate when people like talk bad about something they're clearly trying to buy.
Correct. I hate that too.
But I mean, he was wearing a PSG kit. So, I mean, it wasn't like he was in the Barca or the, Argentina kit. He was in the PSG. But I was like, if a 10 sells for 22 and 2,450 within the last 2-3 months, like, wouldn't make sense for me to spend $2,500. But, very friendly guy, but he was married. He said it's a $2,500 card raw. So he's like, you're going to regret it when it 10s. And so I was like, how am I going to regret it? If it's a 10, it's a $2,200 card, man.
Yeah, you're losing money.
Yeah, no, but it was, I guess the importance of, walking away, catching your breath and spending a couple minutes and then like really not just accepting the first thing that you see.
Yep.
And like, I know Steven struggles with that sometimes. It's like, oh, cool, I found it. And it's like, hold on. Let's make sure that there's not other sales or like you're properly checking this. So,
Yep.
Just word to the wary, just, take your time, do your due diligence, and protect yourself.
I mean, it doesn't hurt to look at Card Ladder,
Yeah.
eBay. Like, I look at it all, especially like I poop on alt like history because the people use the alt value.
Yeah.
That's what they're using. They're not using like they actually have a good way of like showing like recent comps and where it came from and everything.
They use alt value when they're trying to buy something from you cheap.
Yes. And
if
then
there's a card where alt's like, hey, this is 2x the last purchase price, like, oh, no, that doesn't count. That's not a comp.
Yeah, I've noticed that. So, but yeah, you just got to be wary. I hate to say it, but put your guard up when you're going to new dealers. Always think, I'll say it, always think the worst of someone when you don't know them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's protect yourself.
Yep.
And I'll tell you a story why. So I'm going to go fast forward a day and then I'm going to go backwards.
Okay.
So yesterday there was a small show, like 30, 40 tables, like maybe 10, 15 minutes from my house, in like a suburb of like Flint, Schwartz Creek. So I took Steven and I took the girls, right? So Kaya had her Zion case. She was excited.
She loves that thing, by the way.
Yeah. So we're walking the show and like, when I'm like locked in, I can be pretty quick. I can scan a table. There's something for me, nothing for me. And it could be something as simple as like a base card marked for $150. I already know that this person's out of their damn mind. Don't waste my time.
Yep.
So, we do the kids scavenger hunt, and like, I'm all for any kid that comes up. I want to help out. I want to hook them up. I want to this and that. Some guy goes, hey, you girls like basketball? Because Lala was wearing her Bulls gear.
Yeah.
Lala was like, yeah. So he's like, here, I want you guys to have some basketball cards. Well, I thought he handed her a sealed box of Prism, like a WNBA Prism Blaster.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, man, thank you so much. That's so kind. So automatically, I'm like, no matter what, even if it's $5, I'm buying something from this guy. So we had a showcase filled with, some Caitlin Clark base cards, but then like some Angel Reese.
Yep.
Some colored stuff, some silvers, some Sabrina. And I'm like, you know what? I'll take it. And then he had a Roma Dunze auto. I'm like, cool. And I'm like, how are the comps? Obviously you're giving stuff away to kids. I'd imagine your fare is like, oh yeah, we just pulled this. This is all like just priced. So I'm like, hey, you don't happen to have any, do you have any Cameron Brink or Paige? Yeah. And he's like, oh, my son has a Paige. Let me call him over. So the son comes over, and this was a red flag, and I missed it. The son had the Paige like 2 or 3x a recent comp. So I'm like, oh, cool card. Let me give it back to you. So I buy everything. I take it all, a few $100, put it in the case. Cool. Keep it moving. Go and buy the rest of the WNBA blasters that they had, to which later on the last card of the last pack, Kaya pulled a Caitlin Clark.
There you go.
But anyway, I get home and I start looking at this stuff, and none of the cards are even remotely close to comps. And I was just thinking, the only reason that interaction or any of that happened was because I thought he had hooked the kids up with some sealed wax, which I thought was nice. And even if it wasn't sealed, the act of, giving something away from his hard-earned money, totally appreciated. Well, what he gave her was just some base cards stuffed in a box. It wasn't even like sealed wax. And then I even told him, I swear, I even said, hey man, anybody looks out for the kids, I'm operating in good faith. I know that you're not shisty or being scummy. And turns out he was being a scumbag. So I got had for like $50, $60 on WNBA cards.
Yeah, I'm telling you, like I said, keep your guard up with these new people. Look at that. They're getting tricky. They're getting to your sentimentals, to your kids.
Yeah. Now, this show was, like, let's say 1/10 of the size of Shipshewana with about the same amount of traffic.
Really?
Oh, like it sucked. Like you were standing there, like you were up on the table. Like, I don't know how many times people's showcases were getting pushed. And the people behind the tables, they packed so many in there. Like, if you were a dealer, like you were ass to ass with somebody else.
Oh, I would hate that.
So I got the hell out of there. But I want to rewind. So coming back from Ohio, we had recently found a shop in Clawson, which is neighboring to Royal Oak, called Luton's. And I went in there and I bought like some really nice stuff. I bought some like Jude autos, and the people in there, it was a smaller shop, were incredibly friendly. Hey, you know, where do you want to be at? Cool. So he told me that him and a couple other guys opened another shop in Brighton, like 4,000 square feet, brand new, blah, 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 blah. So we decided to stop there. And let me tell you, automatically, my favorite card shop in Michigan.
Really?
It is open, it is bright, and I'm going to compare it to something on a much smaller scale. It had Burbank vibes.
Okay.
There was clean raw throughout, organized by sport, and you could just make a stack, and like everything that was stickered was either like dead on, or there was a couple where like was woefully under comp. So like as we were going through, I'm like, all right, and I saw how other people were going, so I was like, hey bro, what's going on right here? He's like, oh yeah, how about if I take 10 off? Cool, stack it. And so I had like a stack of cards that was going through, and then if I would find something where it was like, ooh, this is significantly more, yeah, just throw that on the pile. Everybody was incredibly warm, welcoming, friendly. There was new people coming and going, and they're just churning inventory.
That's good to know.
Brighton, right off of 23, incredible card shop. I had so much fun. It genuinely reminded me of Burbank when Tommy and I were there for hours, when we skipped dinner with Nat Turner to go pick cards. And they said they just churned. Like it was awesome because we don't have anything like that.
No, not in Michigan.
You know, you go to Rochester, it's the same damn cards that have been sitting there. The guy behind the counter told me there, if it's raw, it's already been picked through. They're not really, they'll work with you a little bit. Like instead of being like 30% over comp, they'll be like 15.
Yeah.
Grand Slam, the guy used to own that, sold to a kid, so that's a different spot now. So to be clear, I don't go on the west side of the state, so like I know you've got some shops out there that might be that, but for around me, like just it was modern, it was well lit, they had just tremendous amount of variety, there was a ton of wax, and just the people made you feel welcome.
I will say one that we both know, and that they have a show this weekend. It's Avery. I like Avery's, but he's more focused on Pokemon cards, and he'll say it.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, his shop is nice too to go to. Which that Lansing show is this weekend. I don't know if you're gonna be going since you're in the card mood, but it is this weekend. I think he has it now 300 tables. Jeremy.
That's it.
It was only 200 when you were going.
That's it.
Yeah, it's huge now.
That's like I was like somebody was like, "Have you ever been to the Lansing show?" I was like, "Sir, we had a 1-year residency there." You know.
Yeah, we should get it back.
Do you remember when what was that name? The therapist guy was like didn't he say like you're a loser if you pay for a table at a card show? Oh
yeah, the mega bid. Cousin Collectibles friend. Rob.
Oz and Tony told us, oh my goodness. Oh my! So I am telling you, the card shop, man, it was an awesome experience. Because when we were in Burbank, there was a kid there, and he's like, "There's a lot of us that come 4 or 5 times a week. They come, because you can also sell at Burbank, and so like they're constantly like just churning their inventory, and so it was cool to actually have something like that close to home. They buy, and they just had a ton of like awesome stuff at all price points.
So you're going to be there every weekend buying new inventory for shows.
Yeah, not even necessarily shows. Like I came home like over the weekend, probably bought 30 cards, and they were packaged up and out the door this morning.
Go. Yeah, my favorite shop is it sucks, but it's 3 hours away, and it's Indie Card Exchange. But so we need something closer. So I'll have to check out that Brighton.
Yeah, I would say I haven't been to. It was nice to see Andy. And it was cool to know that Evan's back in Indy. I would love to check that out. I guess my favorite card shop will always be Mark's.
Yeah, I haven't been to Mark's.
Well, just because that's more so Mark. You could put Mark anywhere because Mark will like work with you. I mean, that guy let me buy his table out, including his showcase.
Oh yeah, and then at Skyline, I remember he was like, "Here's all the Michigan State players here.
Yeah,
just take them. Here's another one." He's such a nice guy. Mark will give the shirt off his back.
He would.
But yeah, I can't imagine. I always see videos of him giving cards away to kids too. So,
dude, that's not fake. That is real.
Yeah.
Like I was worried, like how like you see something and you're like, it's not my place to say something.
Yeah.
I always used to think like, how is this sustainable, Mark? If you constantly give everything to everybody all the time, how are
Yep.
you going to stay in business? But it's definitely worked for him, and he's just a sweet, sincere, genuine, thoughtful, you know,
That's why.
relatively decent looking dude.
Yeah, that's why he pulled that. That's why Karma hit him, and he pulled that Mac Jones 101.
Should have listened to me, but
Yeah, he should have listened to. Yeah, but hey,
who would have known that that same weekend Golden was going to run 150 other Mac Jones
yeah,
cards.
but yeah. So I don't know the card. We went to card shops. I like it. So shout out to card shops. If I go to Indianapolis again, Jeremy, you're gonna have to go with us.
Let's
Go
go,
with
man.
me, and you have to go to the card shop.
Let's go. Who's the kid up north? Like Petoskey area? He's the young kid who had the card shop. He was on the news.
Up north collectibles, I think.
Yeah, it was good. I ran into him. Good to see his shop's doing good. He's
Yep.
he's slanging and moving stuff.
I think he's in Manistee.
Oh yeah, Manistee. I think you're right.
Is that what it is? Okay. Yeah. He's pretty cool. He's the one that sold that 52 mantle to Ryan, right?
Yep.
Yeah. He's a nice guy too. We gotta check out all these card, like our friend, like card shops.
I'm telling you.
I know
it was
too, right? Was a good one for you.
What's that?
I've never been there, but I know you went to trade night at Man Caves in Ionia. Was it Ionia?
They've got 2 spots. I've been to both of them.
Yeah.
For a trade night. There was the old school one.
Yep.
Where they had like some like hillbilly, and I don't mean this like disrespectfully. I'm painting a picture. Some guy pulled up with this thing and they were smoking meat and had like a deep fryer, and it was like one of those things like might not have passed the eye test for like a bougier sort of person, but that smell hits you, and that food was delicious.
I bet.
And then when they opened the new show with Chris Kaman from the former Clipper.
Yep.
They opened the new shop. We went to a trade night there as well.
Yeah, I haven't been to their shops, but I mean they're always buying, and I was at the shows. We need to go to. I'm down. Levi hasn't got a hold of us for the Traverse City show ever again. We went that one time. I'm prepared this time.
That's just because you'll be drunk and smoking cigars with the raspy ass Fran Drescher voice.
You too. We're gonna go there prepared because we know that dude might show up with all those flawless football, and we're gonna buy him out.
Yeah, well, and Kobe White.
Yeah, well, it's got to be Pat Bev, or not Pat Bev, P. Will this time because he's on to the next one.
Well, it'll be Modest by that point. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, it'll be Pat because we'll be full into
Yep,
I got you. No, but I'm telling you, the card show, a new group of people. It was nice to see different people and not see the same. Like it was kind of a little bit of an excitement. Some of that new, and then just going to the card shop was like that good of an experience, and their willingness to work, to talk through things. And I wanted to almost message Debo because this guy was building a rainbow of Calvin Johnson. Yeah. And so I was like, hey, do you know this guy Debo? Because it's like, hey, let's collect super collectors. I did the same thing with Vadim and Tommy for Pavel Bure.
Oh yeah.
And he was telling me like he is a massive Calvin Johnson fan. And I really wasn't sure if I could go like much more than PG or PG-13 describing. I'm like, well, Debo, when talks about Calvin Johnson. So my man, to like hammer home the point that he's a Megatron fan, rolls up his sleeve, and shout out to Drew, awesome guy. He had gotten Calvin Johnson's name tattooed, like his autograph tattooed on his forearm. I'm like, damn, you're about that life.
I bet Debo has it like 5 times on his chest or something like that.
Maybe. Maybe he does. But I was like, hey, you got to look at Debo. And he just like then totally nerding out over cards. I was showing him his Instagram. He's like, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm like, yeah, I think that guy's like Calvin Johnson's even gone live with him because he's got that much of a collection.
Oh yeah. Debo stalks him.
Yeah. So no, I guess I'll cap with this. Over the last 2 weeks, to have a couple of good card shows, to see good people, and then go to a modern card shop, where that was my dream. Like for me personally,
yep,
I like that. So that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I will be to the card shows world. I'll probably be at the Lansing show this weekend, so I'll see a bunch of people. I don't know if you're going, Jeremy, but we're thinking about taking the kids, and then I would go to the card show, and then we might go to Zap Zone afterwards, possibly.
Ooh, I could make that happen, possibly.
So
I can make that happen.
I'll keep you in the loop.
Here, I'll tell you what, Courtney would probably like the one thing that was a small negative is because it was a new audience. People couldn't grasp that like a woman was into cards.
Oh yeah, Courtney.
And so like when Courtney the genesis of us going was it's been a while since we've gone to a show and just walked it together. We've always been working it in some capacity or we had a table.
Yep.
And the last time we walked a show together was actually the Spectacular in Chicago, 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
And we absolutely cooked.
Killed, yeah.
We absolutely.
Have that, Vinny?
No, I moved it.
I was gonna say I didn't know if you had it or not.
I had the Burrow rookie out of 10 too. Like, we absolutely cooked. And so we've got our little thing, and people just make assumptions.
Mm-hmm.
So like even at one point, Courtney went and sold a few cards, and the guy's like, "You're able to do this without your husband," and it's like they have no idea her level. Not saying that she's a superstar, but like she knows her shit and she knows how to navigate things and she understands. And so she G-checked him real quick. He did a little tuck and then backpedaled on what he was saying.
The funny thing about this is people don't realize I know Courtney and Jeremy. You're gonna get the deals and kind of get over on Jeremy. You won't get over on Courtney or get deals from Courtney, and people don't understand this. Like if you literally just talk nice to Courtney and do deals with Jeremy, you're gonna get better and be nice. Like they don't understand this.
Hey, you know what? We make a great team, but all in all, it was an awesome card weekend. We got to chat with you. Would have loved to have chatted with you a couple days sooner. I don't like going 10 days between a recording.
Yeah.
But with everything going on, it was just needed.
Yeah, it was, like I said, good show. We're gonna have more to talk about next week. We'll talk about the Avery Shoebox card show. This week says 300 tables. There's another one that PSA Poppy's doing. It's like a TCG show in Portland. I might try to attend, but because I have that big lot coming, which I'm not gonna say, but I've been buying too, but it's not cards, so we'll see.
Yeah, I would like if we could get a discussion going, and I don't know how we follow up with this, but the conversation about comps always fascinates me. And I know where a lot of people lie because I do deals with them. So we're like in the same place. But I would love to, talk about it more and understand like another way of viewing things. I think if you're smart though, one thing that is certainly if repackers are there and you have what they're looking for, probably does behoove you from a selfish standpoint to go and try to, get it to them first. You can maximize, the money taken back.
It would be good to have like when we have start having people on again. That's like the one question we always ask: bin versus auction, and how do you determine a comp? Because everyone's going to be different, and I'm curious of everyone's answer from if you're just starting in the hobby all the way to like a shop owner.
If you go to Card Ladder and you search HGA 9.5 custom slab LaMelo Ball base prism, you will see a sale for $600.
Mm-hmm.
Courtney and I sold a base LaMelo Ball rookie card and a custom HGA slab for $600.
2021?
That is not a $600 card.
But,
so we would be able to have the discussion. If I had it again, I would be like, I got lucky on that one. But we all know damn well, like an HGA slab isn't carrying any sort of premium. Yep. We all know that like a base prism card in the modern era, like 2020 and beyond, not that much. And so like my brain is able to work with that and understand where some people are just so hell-bent on. So I just think it's always like a fun, fascinating conversation.
I think so too. Jeremy.
So what game do you have for me tonight? Or are we just going to play Swamp Mouth with 504, or what are we going to do?
I don't have the game today because I didn't want to prepare you and throw you off the loop. I do have. We could go quickly into. I know we're pushing on that hour, but I want to do the thickest of the week. Can we get into that?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, cool. So my thickest of the week is my guy. I don't know if you've heard of him. Robbie Avila, 6'10", 240. Have you heard of this guy?
No. Oh, from Illinois, stand up.
Yep. Come on, Jeremy. Averages 17 points a game, 6 rebounds. Guess what his nickname is?
What is it?
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, or Larry Nerd is one of them. He was at Indiana State, transferred to St. Louis to this year. But I do want to show you some highlights of our guy.
43% from downtown. Let's go.
That's what I'm saying, right? This guy is my favorite player in college right now. All right, here's the video, Jeremy.
Oh, money. Look at the dime. Precision passing.
Oh, he's got his passing is amazing.
Taking him.
Kareem.
Oh.
Look at that.
Damn, nice little take with the left. One at the end, one. Let's go. Money.
All money.
Money. Who's that guy?
I don't. His biggest fan. I don't know.
But yeah,
Rob.
Down.
Huh?
That guy needs to settle down.
Yeah. Well,
Robbie Avila, let's go.
Let me see if I can find it.
Yo, bro.
Which name?
Right here. He was on
name
Pat
do you like the
McAfee.
best? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Larry Nerd. Is there any others?
Saw Steph Blurry.
Steph Blurry.
See, my personal favorite is Rob Wave.
Okay.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is definitely the most creative. It's up there for sure.
Is Joker a guy that you look at as your style of play?
Yeah, definitely. Jokic is definitely the main one that I look after, but I think another big one is Sabonis. Our play development guy, AP, he's big on the cliff, so we watch a lot of NBA stuff. Sabonis and Jokic are the two main guys that we watch.
Which name do you like the
So
best?
this is our guy, Jeremy. We need him to go pro.
Cream.
Larry Nerd.
Larry Nerd. I like it.
He doesn't have a card. I was looking for a card, but if he ever gets a card, that's going on our Hall of Fame. So we have Connor Williams, and now we have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
I like it.
For our thickest of the week. So we're going to line up here.
Let's go.
Before you go, Jeremy, I know before you the final comments, I want.
Why is it that people feel like obligated to show that they have a microphone?
Like me?
No, I mean, like that might just be naturally how it's set up. But for me, like, I think some people go out of their way, or they do the 2-finger hold.
I have to because it's like I feel like it won't read it down. I have a bootleg stand that's holding up my laptop to keep it eye level, so I had to put it on my computer.
I like it.
Speaking of bootleg, this is kind of where I wanted the final thoughts. Tariffs on Canada and Mexico, PSA shut down, BGS shut down for our Canadians and Mexicans out there. Thiccest going to offer a bootlegging service to everyone, every Canadian, every Mexican. We're only 2 hours away from the border of Canada. We will come to Windsor, pick up your cards, grade them. No chance that you're getting them back, but they'll be graded by Thiccest.
Yeah, I can be in Canada in like 45 minutes, depending on how quickly I can get through customs.
So we're definitely going to the Toronto show, buying raw, bringing them back and grading them because they can't grade anymore.
Why do we gotta mess with Canada, man?
I'm just stating facts. We can make monopolize this Michigan Canada thing where we get all the raw cards from them at a great deal.
All I know is every time I've gone over to Windsor to party at Caesars, the next day coming back, the Americans are kind of assholes letting me back in.
They are. Well, you kind of look Canadian, so they're probably questioning you. They don't question me. I get questioned on the other border.
No, I mean, they're just like, why are you, you've only been in Canada for less than a day. What are you doing? And I was like, man, I live in Detroit. I don't want to go to Motor City. We don't have the kids. My wife and I just want to get away and have a good time.
There you go. They don't like that answer.
No, they did not. Threw my toothbrush on the ground. I'm still pissed off about it.
Well, makes you feel any better. The other one, I probably won't come back. So
that is very true.
So
that is very, very true.
I can't go for just one day and back.
Yes. We got to change your name. We just got to call you like Matt Smith or something.
Yeah.
The resident honky of the Too Thick Pod.
That's funny.
All right. Make sure that you like and hit that little subscribe. That's it.
I want you guys to enjoy the intro and outro of our new video. I know you saw it. Jeremy worked hard on it. No, I'm joking. Our friend Kyle made it. Shout out Kyle. Shout out
Well
Aaron
done,
for the
bravo.
new logos. I don't know if you noticed that as well, but let us know what you guys think of the intro and outro.
All right.
And with
And
that,
504 does have swamp voice.
Swamp Ass 504. Peace.